And we're live. Welcome. I hope you guys are doing all right today. It is a Sunday evening, and I went to church this morning. I hope you got to go to church as well. Had a great time learning and studying about God and listening to the sermon today. So I hope you guys are doing okay today. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday evening. I am having a good Sunday evening. Um, Yesterday was Saturday, and so we went out on the yard sale circuit yesterday and hit a couple of yard sales. But unfortunately, we didn't find but a couple of items. Nothing really exciting. I did get a couple of good items, and I'll show you those. I'm not the One of them is too big for me to bring in here and put in front of the camera tonight. So I'm just going to show you that on my iCloud photos. But I picked up two really good items this weekend for very good value. We had a pretty nice day today. It was real sunny. Yesterday was sunny, and but we did have a little bit of rain yesterday afternoon. We went over to pick up some items for Carol, my wife. I call her Mrs. Side Hustle or Mrs. Retire Inspired, and we went to pick up a few items that we're going to be taking to their charity yard sale. It's a yard sale that is being organized to um, bring in proceeds to help with the animal rescue program that she is involved with. They often pay for spade and neutering with the proceeds that they get from these silent auctions that they have. So we went to pick up a bunch of items for the silent auction. We're going to take up there and let them auction them off and hopefully be able to bring in a little bit of revenue so that they can have some money in their bank account to take care of some of those things. And it also pays for surgeries for animals where, they've been abused or something bad has happened to them. Maybe they've been hit by a vehicle or something like that. And so they'll pay for the any kind of surgeries that are needed and that sort of thing. So looks like we've got a couple of people in the live stream tonight. Welcome, Marty Baker, my number one fan. Hope you're doing well tonight, Marty. And Invisible River Ranch. Invisible River, I hope you're doing well tonight as well. I was on your website or on your YouTube live stream the other day. I don't know if you saw my comment or not, but I got on your YouTube live stream and was watching your 360 bird feeder. So that was pretty neat. And I try to get on those whenever I can just to check it out and see how it's going. Invisible River says, fasten your seatbelts and have a fun trip. So I guess we're going to have a good time tonight. And Marty says, what are you doing tomorrow? Tomorrow is actually Memorial Day. And I hope that you all, will take a few moments to remember those who served and gave their lives for our country, because without them, freedom is not free. And so, they put their lives on the line, and some of them did not make it home. So those are the people that we are going to be remembering tomorrow on Memorial Day, those people who gave their lives for our country. So that is a very somber and something that you should think about. What does it take to make that ultimate sacrifice? Um, it's a lot to give up your life for somebody else. How many people would be willing to do that? Marty says she's doing good. How about you? I'm doing well. And Invisible River said he saw me. Little late. Okay, so by the time you saw me, I guess I had already gotten off the live stream then. And Marty says, who is that on your lap? cat. Yeah, of course you know it's Tigger. He's always on my lap when I'm sitting here doing my live streams. He has to be right here. Last week, if you last Sunday, if you watched my live stream, he jumped from this window. I have a window up here above me, and he jumped from this window all the way onto the back of my chair and like to scared the living bejesus out of me. I jumped. I jumped real high because he scared me to death when he jumped on the chair like that. But anyway, he's my little buddy, and he hangs out with me here at what I like to call my headquarters. And so he's hanging out here with me tonight, just lounging around. And oh, there he goes. He's talking. And so he says hello to everybody. Say hi to Tigger. Everyone say hi to Tigger. Marty says, do you talk to your brother William? Yes, I talk to my brother William pretty regularly. And Invisible River says, good jump. Yeah, that was a good jump. He was showing off his acrobatic skills last Sunday, when he jumped on the back of my chair. He's never done that before. I guess he was looking for some attention or something like that. But anyway, we will get on to showing you the two big items that I picked up this weekend. Now, I did get a couple other items. I got a couple of the brand new in the box water kettles. They're, I don't know if you're familiar with them or not, but you plug them in and they boil the water in this kettle. Really nice to have. If you use instant coffee or if you make oatmeal at home, they're really good to have. And so I picked up two of those new in the box, and I'm sure that it'll probably sit in my store for a little while, but I didn't pay very much for them. I only paid like $2 a piece for them. So I should be able to get anywhere between $25 and $35 for each of them. They're brand new in the box, so there's nothing wrong with them. Also got one of these little metal fans that you sit on top of your wood stoves. I don't know if you've seen those before or not, but if you're into camping, or if you have a wood stove that you might use for heating your home, these are the metal fans. This was also new in the box. The woman that was running the yard sale said that she had got them from an Amazon pallet that she had purchased, and they were just stuff that she had left over and she hadn't sold yet, but she was a reseller. So anyway, if you know what I'm talking about, these are these metal fans, and you set them on top of the wood stove. And when you set them up there, after they get hot, they will start rotating. The heat causes the fan to rotate, and when the fan starts rotating, then it pushes the hot air toward you instead of going straight up into the ceiling. So they are very effective as far as getting the hot air or the warm air to you from the wood stove, rather than it going up into the attic. Marty says, how is my aunt doing? She is doing well. We spent the whole weekend together doing some thrifting and picking up a bunch of items for that yard sale, as I mentioned earlier. But she is doing well, and we went to eat barbecue tonight. We went to a place called Shane's Barbecue here in Montgomery, and I got the barbecue plate, and she got a stuffed baked potato. So in her potatoes, she had chicken, and of course, she had the sour cream and the cheese and the barbecue sauce, and all that was in the loaded potato. But she enjoyed her potato, and I enjoyed my barbecue plate. I had the barbecue and the Texas toast, and so yeah, that was pretty good. Now, I wanted to tell you guys about something a deal that I hope is going to happen tomorrow. Let me pull it up here on my phone. I don't know if you're familiar with it. This company called Electric Bikes. They're out in Phoenix, Arizona. That's where their plant is, where they build the bikes. But I've been wanting one of these electric bikes for a long time, and what it is it's a battery powered bicycle that you know it will go on its own. You can also pedal it if you want to go with it, but you can also it'll drive itself. But let me see if I can pull up the messages where I talked with this guy who is selling it, and let's see. So here's the listing. I don't know if you're familiar with these bikes. They're electric bicycles. Really nice to have. You can charge them up and you can ride them like a motorcycle. They've got big fat tires. Anyway, when I was out in Arizona, I tested one of them and really enjoyed testing it out. And I've been wanting one ever since I found out about them. But so anyway, these bikes run from anywhere between $1,600 and $2,800 each. So they're not cheap. They're very expensive. This guy's got one for sale for $300 in very good condition. It looks like it's in new condition, and I'm supposed to be picking it up from him tomorrow. So I think that's a pretty good deal. So what do you guys think about that? You think it's a good deal? Marty says, how's antique stuff going? Antique stuff is going pretty well. Are you talking about this sign right here? Antique and old stuff. I think the antiques is what I buy, to resell, and the old stuff, that's me. Hello, it's Val and William. Hey, Valerie, how's my sister-in-law doing, and my brother William? Hope y'all are doing good and had a good day today. Hope you went to church this morning and had a good worship service. Invisible River said that e-bike would be a good deal if it works. And from everything that I've gotten from the seller, it does work and it works well. And it comes with a charger and everything. So I'll give it a test tomorrow to make sure it's working before I buy it. But hopefully this guy will meet me tomorrow morning and we can get this deal done, because I think that's a really good deal, $300 for that bike. Marty says, talking about your store, antique store, where your stuff is. Oh, I don't have an antique store. I have a flea market booth. That's where I keep my stuff. And so yeah, the flea market booth is doing extremely well. I'm gonna update you guys on it tonight and let you see my invoice and see how well I'm doing. But yeah, I'm really pleased with my flea market booth, and it is doing well. But before we go any further, I'm going to show you the two big items that I picked up this weekend. So I'm going to go to my photo library. This is actually a video that I'm working on right now. I repaired a PlayStation 2 fat console. So in order to get to the power supply right here, that's a little sneak preview. But what I did was I fixed the power supply on the PlayStation 2 and got it working again. So that video will be coming out this weekend or this week. So if you like the electronic repair videos, then make sure you check that out. So let's go to my photos. All right, so this is one of the big finds of the weekend. if I can make it big. Let's see if you can see that. Can you see that? This is a Santa Fe freight train set, and it is a Lionel, however you want to pronounce it, which is a really good brand for the model for the train sets. And this is a model. This is the O gauge, which is a bigger train. You have the O, and I think you have the HO. I have had to learn a lot about these little model trains since I've been a reseller, because I have really done well with trains. I've gotten a few good trains. I've got some Lionels. I've got some other different brands, and they've all done very well. And I've made quite a bit of money on selling trains. But this is a Santa Fe freight train set. This is the one that I wasn't going to bring in here because it's so big. The box is this big. I mean, it is huge and it's heavy. And someone marked on the box. I don't know if it was the thrift store that marked on the box or if it was the person who donated it, but it said it was missing a car and some track and a piece of track. But when I opened it up and looked at it, there were no cars missing. They were all there, and didn't appear to be any tracks missing either, because they were still in their package like they had never been opened. So I don't think it was missing anything. The box is in really good condition. I bought this for $40. It had $50 marked on it, and I asked the guy if he could do just a little bit better on it, possibly, and he agreed to. He agreed to go down on it by $10, so I was able to get that for $40. Now, when I looked up this particular train set on eBay, these things are selling from anywhere between $250 to $300. So that is going to be an excellent return on my money, return on investment, or they call that an ROI in the reselling business. But that is a really tremendous return on my investment with that train. So so I hope it sells pretty quickly. The other item I wanted to show you is this is the other big item. See, I didn't even spend $100 this weekend. So it was when I say it was a slow weekend, it was a really slow weekend this weekend. So I only got 2 really big items, and then everything else was just $5 items or $2 or $3 items. So I'm going to play this video for you. I made this just a little while ago. This is a Nintendo DS XL. I was at a yard sale this weekend, and I asked them, did they have any video games or video game consoles? And they referred me to the gentleman who was there. Apparently, he does clean outs of these houses, and sometimes he finds video game consoles and video games. He said he had a Nintendo DS XL that he would be willing to sell, but he said he already had somebody that was going to be coming in and picking it up for $30. So I quickly said, hey, I'll give you $40 for it. I got the cash in my pocket right now. That got his attention, so he went to his vehicle and he pulled this out. So let me play this video for you. I forgot the battery was dead. I'm going to have to reshoot this video, but apparently the battery is dead and I have to charge it up. But that's what I got, was that Nintendo DS. It's a good DS. I did test it and it does work. I did play a video game on it a little while ago, but it just needs the battery to be charged up. But it's a black and copper is what it's called. When I looked it up, it's called a black and copper because it's black on top and it's kind of a copper color on the bottom. I think on this video right here, I turned it upside down and showed the bottom of it. So anyway, the only thing wrong with that is it was missing the stylus, and it didn't have a charging cord with it. But I already had a charging cord at the house, so I was able to. So I got the charging cord. I do have some stylus that I could probably put with it. So I probably, when I sell it, when I list it, I will probably put a stylus with it so I can get the most money out of it. Anyway, like I said, I paid $40 for that, and when I looked up sold comps for that particular item on eBay, they are going for around $130 to $145. So I should be able to get a good return on my investment with that as well. So, I spent less than $100 this weekend, and I should be, after all is said and done, once these two items are sold, I should have over $400. So that's a pretty good turnaround. Turn $100 into $400. That's 3 times the amount of money that I did have. So even then, when you have a bad weekend, sometimes it can be good. But it's just I really, to be honest with you, I didn't really need a whole lot of inventory because I have a lot of inventory, and I am really behind on my listing. I need to get more listings out because I've been so busy with the flea market booth and also getting my Airbnbs ready to get up on on the platform. I'm trying to open up two new Airbnbs, and I just had some guests move out of one of the Airbnbs, so it's going to need a thorough cleaning from top to bottom. So I stay very busy between between the flea market booths and that. I was able to pick up another. I told you about these glass display cases that I got from the flea market that I had to move out of, that was out in Wetumpka. I made a few videos about the Wetumpka flea market, but anyway, to make a long story short, I was able to buy some these glass display cases off of other vendors that were closing their booths, and they didn't, because the flea market was closing at the end of the month, they decided not to try to go anywhere else. They just decided to close their booths, and they sold their display cases, and some of them I got for amazing discounted prices. But so anyway, I mean, I was getting $150, $185 display cases for like $35, which it's really good benefit for me, because now I'm using some of those display cases already. Now I do have a couple of other display cases that I bought off of the guy that owned the flea market, that he just did not have room to put them. He had to move to a much smaller building that he already had, that was like a storage building. He's going to reopen that as a smaller flea market that is just going to have his stuff in it. So he had to get rid of some of his stuff, and I was able to pick up 2 of his display cases a couple weeks ago, and we kind of bartered for the payment on that. I gave him a day's work for both of those cases, so I got 2 cases, 2 of those glass display cases. One of them did not have the doors in the back, but those are pretty easy to build. You can get a piece of thin plywood, and you can make a door to go in the back of those display cases. It's not that hard, but that's what I plan on doing for that one. And then the other one did have the doors in the back of it, and it also had, both of them had shelves with racks and glass as well on the inside. So I feel like I did pretty good on that. But when we went by the old flea market yesterday, the guy that ran the flea market, that owned the flea market, he was there packing up the last of his stuff, and there was a real nice display case that was in the front of the store that had the word free on it, and free is my favorite word in the English language. So anyway, this case is one of those slanted cases. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but you have the square cases that are just square and you have glass on all sides, but you also have the slanted cases that have the glass that kind of slants this way, and then there's a top to it. But the glass slants, and it's real good for, you know, displaying items that you're going to sell. Um, you don't see them too much anymore. I think they were used a lot a long time ago, like in the early 1900s and on into the 40s and 50s. But you don't see them too much anymore. But this one was in really good condition. It had doors in the back that it didn't have the locking doors like you're used to. It had the older doors that slid back and forth, and instead of having a lock and a key that you could turn, it had a latch and a little padlock on each door on both sides. So that is going to be a nice case if I'm ever able to use it. But yeah, I was excited about getting that for free. That case by itself is probably a $300 case, the glass case. So we got Mr. FSJ with us tonight. How are you doing? Good to see you on here. I saw you a couple weekends ago on Wolfman's Goodies live stream. Good to see you on here. So your eBay has been silent for a few days. I wonder why that is. I'm still making sales, doing pretty good with the sales. They're not as many as I would like, but I am making sales, so that's a good thing. And Invisible River Ranch says, best things in life are free. I agree. So I'm going to start with the flea market booth to kind of give you guys an update on the flea market booth to show you how it's doing. I'm really happy with the flea market booth, and you know, the people that I've talked to that are already in the flea market that already have booths. The guy that's behind me, he said it took him about a year for him to really be profitable with his flea market booth. He's actually got maybe 6 or 7 spots. He's got a whole little area, and he sells a lot of incense and stuff like that. So his niche is a little bit different from what you would expect to see in a flea market, but he must do pretty good in his flea market in doing that. But anyway, I'm going to share with you some of my sales, since this is from the 15th of May, because I got paid out on the 15th. My first payout was around $320. It's actually $318 after all the fees were taken out. But that's what my paycheck was. My check ended up being around $318 this on the 15th of May. But this is since the 15th of May. So I've sold a couple of Hot Wheels for $10 a piece. I hope you can see that. I'm going to look on here and see if that is visible. But yeah, it's $10 a piece for the Hot Wheels. So that was $20. Then it says model cars. That's actually a die cast, a larger car, 1/16 scale or something like that. And a comic. The model cars were there were a couple of die cast cars. One of them was a 60s car, and the other one was a 1957 Chevrolet. But they sold for $30 each for a total of $60, and then 4 comic books for $4 each for a total of $20. So that was a $100 sale day on the 17th. Then on the 20th, it says figurine. That was actually a wrestling figure. A couple weekends ago, I showed you guys a bunch of wrestling figures that I picked up at a yard sale. That was one of those, and it sold for $4. This one had the foot chewed off of it, so I listed it for $4 instead of $8, which most of them were. I put up there for about $8. And the Batman would have been a comic book for $12. So that was $16 for the 20th, and that raised my total to $116. Then on the 22nd, I sold 2 Wii games for $8 each and a Wii bundle, and that sold for $115, which $115 is pretty good for a Wii bundle. Usually I get anywhere between $65 and $85 for the Wii bundles with games when I sell them on eBay. So it's a little bit more profitable for me to have had this in the booth and selling the whole bundle for $115. And then the games were separate. So that was a sale of $131 for that day for the Wii bundle and the games. And those all sold to the same person. And then the next day, this doesn't show one of the sales because the one sale that it doesn't show was a layaway. It was a PlayStation 2 console bundle, which sold for $145. It's not showing on here because it's on layaway, so I guess it doesn't show up until the sale actually goes through. But the buyer actually paid $100 of the $145, and we'll pay the rest of it next payday, is what he said. So he also bought a memory card, an 8 MB memory card for the PlayStation 2. He bought a movie, looks like a VHS movie for $2, and a Walking Dead poster for $25. This is a poster that I had framed, and it was The Walking Dead, you know, from the TV series The Walking Dead that was on AMC. And so that was on the 23rd, and then the 24th, I sold an Xbox game for $10 and 4 of the DVDs for $20 total, which was, you know, the movies, the DVD movies. So I sold 4 of those for $20. And so that was $30. Yesterday's sales haven't posted yet, so they're not on here. But according to this, that was $312 that I have accumulated since the 15th of this month. So a little over a week, $312, and then add $145 to that would be $457 in sales, which is I'm very pleased with that. I think that's pretty good for someone who has just opened a booth. Jack says our booth is good for crap. Yeah, I didn't realize you had a flea market booth. So what kind of stuff do you put in your flea market booth? FSJ? He needs to list. Yeah, Jack, I'm that's one of my downfalls. I don't like to list. So that is one of my least favorite things to do. I love to go out and source. I love to pack and ship, but listing is not one of my most favorite things to do. But it is very satisfying when I'm able to get my 5 listings up per day, which is what I try to do. I try to get at least 5 listings up per day. And if you're not already doing it, you're probably already doing this, Jack. But one of the things that I do is I end listings that are already scheduled to end. I'll end those, and then I'll sell similar and relist them. And so it looks like I've listed stuff when I've actually not listed anything. But that really, and I think that does help with your sales. It has certainly helped with my sales on eBay. So if you're not already doing that, then I highly suggest that you do that. Now, one of the things that I have found with ending and selling similar for those items that are already ending and that would normally end and I just wouldn't get credit for, but sometimes I have days where there are no items ending. So what I'll do is I'll just go to a category, like, for example, shoes, and I'll pull up all my sneakers that I have listed and I will end them all. And sometimes it's, I have over 150 pair of sneakers on eBay. So if I end them all, that's 150 listings that I've ended that I'll be selling similar and relisting. And so it looks like I've listed 150 items when, it only took me 15, well, not even 15 minutes, maybe 5 minutes to end all those listings and then sell similar and get them relisted. So that's one thing that's my lazy way of listing. Sometimes when I just don't feel like listing, I'll go and end items and then sell similar. And that's something that has kind of worked for me. I don't know how long it'll work. I think the algorithm actually does know the difference between when you're actually listing new items and when you're ending and selling similar, because I have noticed a difference in my sales when I'm actually listing items versus when I'm ending and selling similar. So that's just me. I don't have anything to back it up with, but I feel like that eBay's algorithm does know if you're actually listing new items or if you're just ending and selling similar. What do you guys think? Any ideas? Let's see what. Let me catch up on the comments. Jack says he can see it. Invisible River Ranch says he can see it. And you're 37. Our booth is 73. That's interesting. Jack says, I'm not sure I'd be okay with layaway. Do they okay that with you? No, they didn't. And it's something I wasn't aware of, that they did layaway. I've never heard of a flea market doing layaway, but this was a store employee that bought these items, and I'm not really okay with the layaway, but if that's part of the policies of the store, then I guess I'll have to be okay with it. But they do have 30 days. They have 30 days to pay it off. They only have 30 days. If they don't pay it off within the 30 days, then I keep their deposit and I get my item back. So I guess it is a win for me, even if for some reason they decide not to pay. I get the money for free and get my item as well. So it wouldn't be beneficial for the person buying the item to not finish paying for it. But I'm with you, Jack. I'm not really excited about layaway. I don't think it's good for sellers. I'd rather they just go ahead and pay for the item. If they can't afford it, then they need to wait and buy it when they can't afford it. I guess it's better than credit, though. Credit will kill you. Jack says, no, it's either good or crap, like sales. Jack says, we have all kinds of stuff in there: records, wooden boxes, custom shirts, and iron ones, and knick-knacky stuff. Okay. Well, I don't know if you have seen my videos, but I actually have two flea market booths. One of them is in a very well-known place, and that's the one where I have all my video game consoles, and I have my movies and comic books and die-cast. All that stuff is in that booth. But I have another booth in another business that is in the same strip of shopping centers. So I now have two booths. The other booth is I'm not allowed to sell clothing in the first booth that I mentioned, but in the other booth I can sell clothing, because it is actually a boutique. But they don't want you to sell used clothing. They only want you to sell new items in there. But fortunately for me, my wife and I accumulated a ton of boutique clothing that we didn't even pay anything for. A woman just gave it to my wife and said, y'all do what you want to with it. And it's brand new stuff with tags. And so we've just had it sitting in storage for a long time. And when this opportunity came up to open this booth in this boutique, we decided to go ahead and put those clothing items, because I had bought these clothing racks off of a guy that was closing his business. And so we had all these boutique clothing items that were really nice with tags, brand new with tags. Some of them were marked like $50 and $60 a piece. Really nice items. And so we put them in there. Now, we've been in both booths since May the 1st, and that booth has not been producing very well. I've sold one item that I know of, and it's a makeup item. I got one of these glass display cases that I picked up at the last flea market booth, and so I was able to display some of the eBay cosmetics that I haven't been moving in my eBay store. So I just delisted it on eBay, and I took those items out there and put them in the glass case. And I did sell a Mary Kay thing for like $25. But one of the things about this booth that I don't like is their hours are real sucky. They're only open from like 10 to 4 every day, and then they're closed on the weekends and holidays. And so they could have made bukudos of money this weekend if they had opened their businesses, opened their doors, because it being Memorial Day weekend. This is the weekend that people are looking for these sales, and their doors aren't even open. So how are they going to sell anything? Anyway, I'm really disappointed with that flea market booth, and I may not keep it, but we'll see how it goes. I'll be giving you guys an update pretty soon on both of the booths, because I think the last video that I made with the flea markets, I had not even gotten into the current booth that I'm in now. So I definitely need to make an update video of my flea market booths, because I'm way behind on updating you guys on that. The only way that you've been getting updates has been when you're watching my live streams and you're seeing the videos that I posted. But so, yeah, I will be updating that. And I just don't feel real good about this second flea market booth. I'll probably end up closing it down, but I really don't have another venue to sell all of those clothes, but if they're not selling, it's not doing me any good. So, you have to do what you got to do. But in the first booth that I mentioned, I do have all kinds of really good stuff. I got records, I got video games, I got consoles. I've got every console you can imagine, including handhelds. It's almost like a video game store, like a retro video game store within the store. I've had a lot of people tell me that they really like the way that the booth looks, and they think it's a really cool looking booth, and they enjoy it. We do have records. I bought a record rack from the guy that closed down the flea market booth in Wetumpka that closed. He had a bunch of different racks and glass cases and all kinds of stuff. So I got a couple of glass cases I already told you about, but I also got this really nice record case that you would see one of these in a really nice record store, and it displays the records really nice. And I set up a record player inside my booth as well, so that people could test the records out before they buy them, kind of play before you pay. So you have all kinds of stuff in there, like records, wooden boxes, custom shirts with iron ones, knick-knacky stuff. Okay. And haven't done that in a while. We need to do whole store end and reboot. Okay. So you haven't done any ending and relisting. I'm assuming that's what you're saying. Anyone else here? Gumball Gold, welcome. Hotty Toddy, number 4. Good to see you in here. Hope you're having a great day today, Gumball Gold. And Chuck Jacobs, my good buddy in Arizona. How are you doing today? You're my other good buddy in Arizona. My other good buddy is my friend that is on here tonight, Invisible River. So Jack says, well, employee is kind of different. Okay, yeah, I agree with you. An employee buying it is kind of different, but I think the layaway plan is available to anybody who wants to buy out of the booth. But I have sold lots of stuff so far. I started May 1st, and so far I've done very close to $1,000 in sales since the 1st of May, and today is the 20. What is today? The 25th. Anyway, so yeah, what is today? My big hand is over the date, so I can't tell what the day is. Sunday, 7:30. Okay. Anyway, Yeah, it's okay that it's an employee. And to be honest with you, if I had known about it, if it hadn't have just hit me in the back of the head, the layaway plan would not be a big deal because they do have 30 days. 30 days is a short period of time. And if it's going to increase my sales and allow people to purchase my items, uh, I don't know that it would sell within 30 days anyway. So if somebody wants to put it on layaway and do the 30-day plan, I guess I'm okay with that because it's a sale. A sale is a sale is a sale, right? So Valerie says, Sam, will you be coming to the reunion? Yes, absolutely, I will be. We have a family reunion on, I think it's June the 16th, and I do plan on being there. Jack says, we have 3 huge places here in town, probably 80, 90,000 of the floor in 3 stores, 1 star at antiques, one's personal place that sells, and one's a mix of everything. Do you have those on your YouTube channel, Jack? I'm just curious because I would love to see that. I've getting into the flea market scene, so to speak. I'm really interested in other people's flea markets and how they kind of set up their booths and what they do. And I tell you what, they're not on tonight yet. They're probably. I hope they will join us tonight. But some of my inspiration for doing the flea market comes from my friends Rat's Stash, Renee and Todd. They have several flea market booths in the Pennsylvania area, and they're a big inspiration for me as far as doing the flea market booth. So yeah, I kind of seek out content now on YouTube that has to do with flea markets because that's a new interest for me. And I really want to do the best that I can to make sure that these flea market booths are successful. Jack says he has tons and tons of smalls, but no locking cases, so it's not getting put in the booth. Freaking thieves. Yeah, that stuff will grow legs and walk away if you don't lock it up and it has value. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the $3 and $4 stuff, if they want to walk off with that, hopefully they won't. But I think most people are honest. A few people will try to steal from you, but I think most people are honest. But if $3 to $4 stuff, not as big a deal. But if you have a video game that's worth $45 and you put it on the shelf, it will grow legs and it will walk away. So yeah, I strongly believe in lock-in shelves. I also have video cameras. They have Wi-Fi in the basement where my booth is, and I can look on my video cameras and actually see when sales are taking place. And I also am able to see when customers are coming and taking a look at my items. So I kind of get an idea of what kind of traffic is coming in and out of my booth because I have those cameras, the live camera feed, and I can look. I have 2 cameras in my booth, and I also put up these signs on my display cases that says "Smile, you're on camera," so that there's nobody can say I am secretly recording them. But I like it because for several reasons. One is to prevent theft. Just having it up there as a deterrent. Nobody wants to get caught stealing because they're going to go to jail, or that at least have charges. May not go to jail, but they at least have charges and have to go to court and defend themselves and hire a defender because they're going to be prosecuted. But the second benefit I have is being able to monitor my booths to see what kind of traffic is going in the booth. And like today, somebody came in and picked up a die cast and walked away with it. So I know I sold at least one item today. I sold a die cast, and that die cast was listed for about $35. So at least I know I sold at least one item for $35 today. Jack says, well, I guess if you're selling good, let it ride out. Don't ruffle feathers. Yeah, that's true. Maybe 7,000 square feet. Wow, that's a lot. Do not, but I've been looking to do some continent and build up my channel. Okay, so you don't have any content about your flea market booths on your channel. I hate hearing myself breathe on videos. That's why I don't do them. Okay. Jack says, I get it. People steal and cheap stuff is out for that. Right. Steal the cheap crap. We have went to our place and moved to the booth around, brought in a wagon full of stuff, took out a wagon of stuff, never seen one employee. I do not like that at all. Well, the flea market booth that I'm in, the big one that I really like, the employees are great. They're very responsive, and I've sold a lot of stuff to them so far. So they're my best customers. And Jack says, was the same when I worked at the antique mall. The old folks working would just sit there. They wouldn't walk around and talk to people, just sit and wait. Well, I didn't realize we have been going for 51 minutes already, and I haven't even begun to talk about my sales with eBay. So I'm going to take a few minutes and share some information with you guys about my eBay store, because it is the eBay store is doing fairly well. It could be doing better, but I'm not going to complain. And Jack says he's blabbing. No, you're not. I enjoy your comments, Jack, and everybody else's comments as well. Keep those comments coming. So let's take a little peek at my eBay store, and I'll share that information with you. Not going to go into a whole lot of detail today on the eBay store, but according to this, my last 31 days of sales is around $4,877, which is not bad. I usually do about 5,000 in sales per month, which is pretty good for someone who's a part-time eBay seller. I don't consider myself a full-time eBay seller. I consider myself part-time because I'm retired. Come on, guys. I didn't retire so I could start a second career, but it seems like I'm doing more work now than I did when I was working. I need to slow down, don't I? Between this and making YouTube videos, eBay, my Airbnbs, my rental houses. I have, on top of my Airbnbs, I have rental houses. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. But I have 10 houses total. I live in one, so that one doesn't count. And then we keep cats in another one. It's kind of a cat sanctuary, and my wife does that for the cats. And so we have two houses that that we live in and the cats live in. We call it the cat house, by the way. Ha ha ha. And then this house where I have my eBay business, and also I do all my leases out of this house. So I use this office space for my rental business and for my eBay. Actually, I use this office space for anything that I need office space for, including my my booths. So I'm averaging about 5,000 a month on eBay. Let me catch up here with the comments. Link to store. Are you asking me for a link to my store, or are you telling me you're going to put a link to your store? I love looking. Okay. You need any help? Yeah, I need some help. Cat house, you say? Yes, I do say. But if you're asking about a link to my store, yes, you are. You are asking about a link to my store. I usually put a link to my eBay store in my live stream comment, in my live stream what is it called? Actually, I put it in all of my videos that have to do with eBay. I put a link in my comments section. Not in the comments section, it's in the description. There you go. I always put a link to my eBay store in the description of my but I tell you what, since you're asking for it right now, let me see if I can put a link to the store in the comments of this. I may not be able to do it. Let's see. I don't think I'll be able to do it while I'm on live stream. But let me get back to showing you my store, because I'm starting to go off on a rabbit trail. So I showed you the 31 days is $4,877.90. So $348.90 of that was taxes and fees, and also my selling cost was $1,434.26. So my net sales was $3,094.74. That doesn't count my cost of goods. So my cost of goods is averaging about $200 a week. So 2,468. So you take 8 away from that, and that would be my actually bring home what I brought home. So you take $800 away from 3,094.74, then you got 2,194.74, something like that. So I sold 66 items in the month. Average sales price of my items is $73.91. So the reason that my ASP, my average sales price, is higher than a lot of folks is because I sell higher value items. I may sell less, but I sell more higher value items. Some of those are cameras. So you see here, I have cameras and photos that sold $808, and video game consoles. A lot of that, those high dollar sales are video games and video game consoles. So here's the breakdown of the month, and you see that it's kind of all over the place. I had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days where I had 0 sales in the month, and that's a little bit unusual. Usually I have maybe 1, maybe 2 days out of the month where I have 0 sales, but this last 31 days I've had 5 days total with 0 sales. But then I had a few days where they were, like this day right here was sales were $447.96. That was May 4th. May 3rd, my sales were $382.27. So I had almost $1,000 in sales in just 2 days. And then on May the 8th, I had a record, one of my best days ever. I sold $988.35 in that one day. And when I was first starting eBay, I had months. I had a month, maybe a month, where I didn't make that much. So, having a single sales day of over $900, and then I've had a lot of really good, strong days since then in the $300 and $400 range. So that would explain, why I'm still in the $5,000 range per month. Okay, you'll go and look there. After this live stream is over, if you want to go back and check it out, go to my description, and I'll put a link to my store in the description, so you can click on it and check out my store. And if you want to buy anything and you don't like the price, get in touch with me. Maybe we could talk, and I could give you a little bit better deal. Valerie says she likes the cat house. Cat approved. Valerie says Tigger's cool. Yeah, I like Tigger. He is a cool little guy. And Invisible River says he likes Tigger's tail. The wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things. And Chuck's talking to Invisible River, and he says, "Is that fire anywhere near you?" Okay, Marty, you're going to have to go. Well, hope you have a good evening, and we will speak to you soon. Was a tiny one, nothing near. Okay, so he didn't have a fire near him. So before we go, I've already hit my 1 hour mark, so it went pretty quick tonight. But before we go, I'm going to show you a couple of items that I've sold here recently, so you can get an idea kind of what I'm selling, what kind of stuff I'm selling. What kind of stuff is actually selling in my store. So I'm not going to open all of these up because it would just take too long, and you guys probably have a lot to do because it is a Sunday night and tomorrow is Monday morning. It's a holiday, so you can sleep in. So why don't you guys stay and hang out with me a little bit longer? Anyway, so this 1965 vintage Heathkit assembly manual sold for $17.99. And I got that in, it was in a desk that I got from an estate sale. I still have the desk, but all these manuals and stuff were in there from old TV sets and old electronic gear. And so this one, I would call this free because I mean, the item that I bought I didn't buy so I could resell it. I bought it to keep it. But so this manual is just kind of extra money. This Sega Saturn here sold for $153. And this was a pickup that I got at a yard sale on an ask. I just simply asked, "Do you have any video games or video game consoles?" And the guy says, "Hold on just a minute." So he went inside his house and came back out, and he had one of the things that he had was this Sega Saturn. Sega Saturns are not real common, and the games that go with the Sega Saturns are even more rare and hard to find. But this Sega Saturn sold for $153. I paid the guy $50 for the console, so that was a pretty good return on my investment. And this manual typewriter, this 1950s Royal manual typewriter, also sold. I bought this at a yard sale for $20, and it was one of those old Royal typewriters. So yeah, that typewriter sold for $121. So that was a pretty good turnaround on that. And then I sold this Coach shoulder bag crossbody for $49.49. I picked this up at a yard sale for $2. So this is just a Coach handbag. I have to be careful with these name brand items because you don't want to get caught up selling counterfeit items. And one of the big counterfeits that you run into a lot are Coach handbags. There are some ways that you can find out, make sure that they are authentic and real. But I've had at least one removed from my listings because it was determined that it wasn't genuine. But apparently eBay will remove Coach handbags that are not authentic. they have some way of knowing. So I also sold this Sony PlayStation 1 console. This is a slim console. It was sold as a bundle, and it sold for $71.99 with 3 games. That was one of the ones that I bought off of eBay for parts or repair. I usually pay about $20, average about $20 per console for these. So with the console, and then I have to buy the power cord, and have to buy the controller a lot of times separately. I have anywhere between $20 and $40 invested in these items, in these bundles. But, you know, $71 is not a huge turnaround on that, but it is a little bit of profit, so I'm okay with that. And then I had this ProScan portable CD radio boombox. This was an item that I picked up in a yard sale, and it sold for $35.55. And here is a really good pickup I had. This is an Acer Travel Mate. And this Acer Travel Mate laptop sold for $103.50. I bought this at a yard sale for $5. I thought I was going to have a problem with it when I was sending it out because I couldn't get it to boot up like it needed to. I had to restart it several times, and then I had to do it in safe mode, and then I had to change some settings, but I was able to get it back to the boot up screen, and it went to the Windows and worked really well. So you kind of take a risk when you buy stuff like that online, and I'm sorry, when you sell stuff like that online, because with electronics, you just never know. Sometimes it's a crapshoot. Let me catch up with my comments. Jack says, wow, on that typewriter. And Invisible River says, no problem. He's talking to Chuck. And Jack says, oh, Napa Semi, so cool. Yeah, I sold the semi truck and trailer on there. You must be looking at my store. Man, great solds in your store. I found it. Okay, cool. And welcome, Linda. Hey, Linda. I met Linda when I was at the RTR this past year. Her and a bunch of her friends and us went to the pizza place. Chuck was with us, and so he knows Linda. But greetings from Coastal Texas. Good to have you on here, Linda. I hope you're having a great Sunday afternoon, or Sunday evening, I should say. You guys, I want to tell you about this one item here. It's called a WeatherTech cup phone cell phone holder. If you run across these, pick them up if you can get them for a reasonable price. This one I bought at a yard sale for $3, and it sold for $32.40 within 24 hours. So these, let me see if I can show you a little closer. This one is brand new. I've never found one that wasn't new, but this one is brand new in the box, and it just fits in your cup holder, and it holds your cell phone. But whenever I find these, they just generally sell quickly. They're a really good item to pick up. So if you run across them and you're a reseller, I highly suggest you pick them up. I sold this Bionicle DVD, new sealed, for $25.20. And this is one of the DVDs that I had in my storage that I had for a long time. I picked it up at a yard sale for like 50 cents, but 50 cents into $25.20, I will take that all day long. And this right here, it's a Brookstone 85-watt step-down transformer. I picked this up at a yard sale, and I couldn't tell you what I paid for it. I want to say I paid about $2 or $3 for it. I know I wouldn't have paid very much for it, but it sold for $20.69. This Ford Mustang gas cap. I paid a little bit more than I normally do for this item. I paid $25 for this item, and in a resale shop. It's like a thrift store that was owned by an individual, and she just sold her stuff out of there. But this was in her display case, and it was a Ford Mustang gas cap. And I bought a couple of car parts for Ford Mustangs before, and they usually sell pretty fast. And so this one did as well. I didn't make a whole lot on it, but $25 to $58.50, I'll take that. And I'm not going to go too much longer because I'm already over my hour. But I did want to share a couple of other items that I pick up. Now, this one right here is a military jacket. If you run into these military jackets, I recommend that you pick them up because they're pretty good for reselling, especially the brand new ones. I picked up this military jacket last October when I went up to Pennsylvania, and I went picking with my friend's Rat Stash at the Jake's Flea Market. There were several of the military style jackets at this one place. And I was telling Renee and Todd, I said I had just sold a World War II uniform, a complete uniform, for like $285. And it was in really perfect condition. It was in mint condition. And I said, military uniforms, especially ones with patches on them, do very well. And so the guy hollered at me. He said, I'll give you all of these for $2 a piece. And I mean, I couldn't say no. I had to bite on that one. So I went in there and went over there and bought about 5 or 6 of his I bought all of his military jackets. There were about 5 or 6 of them, and there were a couple military shirts as well. So yeah, if you run across these military jackets, especially the ones with patches and that sort of thing on them, then I would recommend that you pick those up if you're an eBay reseller. Looks like Valerie had to go. So good night, Valerie. Good to see you on here. Hope you had a good night. And Karen Roman, hello from New Jersey. Welcome, Karen, into the live stream. I hope you're doing well tonight. Are you a reseller, or can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Chuck Jacobs says, gotta go later, everyone. Well, I hate to see you go, Chuck. I'm glad you came in tonight. It was good to see you on here. Thank you for being here, and hopefully we'll see you next Sunday night at 7:30 Central Standard Time. I'm always on, unless I'm not. But I try to be on. I have done pretty well lately. It's been a while since I've not done a live stream. I've been pretty good, pretty consistent about doing that. So I'm just going to show you a couple more items, and I'm going to get off of the eBay store. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing about eBay and my sales on eBay, but I sold these Iraqi playing cards. These are from the time during the time when the Gulf War was occurring. These were all of the most wanted folks in Iraq. They put their pictures on these playing cards. This one went to an international buyer for $17.99. I sold a PlayStation 4 bundle with controller and games. It had 3 games with it, and it sold for $130.50, which is actually a very good deal for the person who got it. So yeah, that's some of my sales over the past few weeks, at least since the last time that I did a live stream. My eBay store has been doing okay, so I'm very pleased with how well the eBay store is doing. I think it could do better if I spent more time listing and less time doing other things. But I like to do the other things. Also, I haven't even mentioned about my electronics repair. I repair the vintage consoles, and that also takes time away from listing and doing other things. But these are all things that I love to do. And if you're doing something that you love to do, then you're having fun. And so, you know, I try not to get caught up in what I should be doing or what I think I should be doing. And I just try to, you know, have a good time and enjoy each day and each moment as it comes. But we have come to the point where I probably need to close out this live stream and tell you guys good night. I want to thank you all for being on tonight. Thanks, Jack, for being on. I was glad to see you on tonight. And Valerie and Chuck and Gumball Gold, my friend Jim in Mississippi. Good to see you on here tonight. Invisible River Ranch, of course, you are a constant. We love to see you on here. You never miss a live stream, and I appreciate that. And I also appreciate all your comments that you have. You have a very interesting take on things, and I really like hearing about your auctions that you participate in. That's really good. And my number one fan, Marty Baker. I know you're not on here anymore, but it's always good to see you on here. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here and tell you guys good night. I want to let you know I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a great week, and we will see you on the next one. Until then, take care. Love you guys, and bye-bye.